a numerical on gearbox design. So gearbox design for machine tools, right? So in this numerical, we have to draw structure diagram and speed diagram for the given data. And on basis of that, we are going to compare structure diagram and speed diagram. So the numerical says draw the structure diagram. First draw the structure diagram and then the speed diagram for 6-speed gearbox having structural formula. First the structural formula is 2331 and 2132. So let us start, guys. Now first thing that we have to do, right, is do what? We have to first find out for the structural diagram, we have to first find out Z. Now it already says 6-speed gearbox. So Z is going to be 6, right? And what does it say? It says that for this you have to draw the structural diagram. For the structural diagram, we need to find out the number of stages of gearbox, right? So for number of stages of gearbox, the formula is n is n1 plus n2. And how do we find out n1 and n2? We find out this way. Z is 2 raised to n1 and 3 raised to n2, right? Now our Z is 6. How do I get 6? I get 6, sorry. How do I get 6? I get 6 as 2 3s are 6, right? So this is how get 6. Now you can see 2 also I have once and 3 also I have once, right? So n1 is also 1 and n2 is also 1. So 1 plus 1, it is going to be 2. So number of speeds for stages for this gearbox are going to be 2 and number of speeds are going to be 6. So for this, first we are going to draw the speed diagram. Let us start with that. We have found out N, we have found out Z. Now on basis of that, we are going to draw the structure diagram. First, the structure diagram that we are going to draw is this one, 2, 3, 3, 1. Now, horizontal lines should be drawn equal to Z. So we are going to draw 6 horizontal lines. And vertical lines, we have to draw n plus 1. We already found out here n is 2. So 2 plus 1, 3 vertical lines and 6 horizontal lines we have to draw. So let us start. Let us start drawing the horizontal lines and vertical lines. So I have to draw 3 vertical lines. So this is 1. This is the 2 and 3. Right? So this shaft, I'm going to name it as 1 input shaft. This is the intermediate shaft, which is 2. And this is the output shaft, which is 3. Right? Now I have to draw horizontal lines equal to 6. So see, this is my second horizontal line. This is my third horizontal line. Remember, the gap should be equal. This is my fourth horizontal line. This is my fifth horizontal line. And this is my sixth horizontal line. The extra which is there, I'm erasing it. Sorry. The extra portion which is there, right? I have to erase it. So let me erase it. Let me erase the extra portion. right? So I'm erasing it the extra lines. Now in structural diagram, right, you have to write down the speeds n1, n2, n3, right? You have to write it down from bottom. So this is my n1, this is n2, this is n3, this is n4, this is n5 and n6. Because it is a 6-speed gearbox, so 6 horizontal lines and n plus 1. Now see, if this is 2 3 3 1, then I'm going to write down here 2 3 and 3 1. Now for drawing this structural diagram, for completing the structural diagram, what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out the middle point of this 6 lines. So for that, leaving one from above, leaving one from bottom, leaving second from above, leaving second from bottom. You know now this somewhere in between here is your center line. Now what is this meaning of 2 3? What is the meaning of this 2 3? It says that you have to draw 2 lines with the gap between those 2 lines as 3, right? So if this is the center line, if I just want to extend my center point till here, suppose, right? Suppose I'm extending my center point. Now I want the gap of 3. So see guys, from here above, this is half and this is also half. So half and half 1, and till here it is going to be 1.5. Same way moving downwards from center line, this is half. Then again, this is more half and this is half. I'll draw it and show you. See, from center line moving upwards, this is half distance, half and again moving half. So this is 1 and moving half again, 1.5. Same way moving down. So this is half, right? From center line. Again, this is half. So this half and half became 1 and again half till here. So it became 1.5. So total 1.5 and 1.5, the distance is 3, right? So I should draw my line till here. See, this is 2 3, means 2 lines with the gap of 3. If I want to draw it much more nicely, if I want to show it to you nicely, then let me just rub the things which are not required, and then you will get a clear-cut idea that how the structure diagram looks like, right? So now you can see here, I'll extend the point till here and I'll extend the other point till here. This total gap till here is 1.5 and this is also 1.5, which means this total gap between the 2 lines is 3. I hope you understood. So I'm rubbing out these unnecessary things which are there, right? Now you can understand that I have finished just one portion, which is this 2 3, but yet this 3 1 is remaining. So I have to draw 3 lines with the gap between those 3 lines as 1. You should remember that first line would be this way, the second line is horizontal, and the third line is also, the third line would also be inclined this way. So 2 inclined lines and 1 horizontal line makes 3 lines. And if it is said gap is 1, so the gap between first 2 lines is 1 and the second 2 lines is 1. This is how it should be calculated. So from where should I start now? I should start from where the previous diagram has been finished. So I should I have to draw it over here and I have to draw it over here. This line, center line, we had just taken it for the reference. So from these 2 points, I have to draw the other 3 lines with a gap of 1. So let us start. Now see, it is easy for me when I have to draw 3 lines, because the first line is always horizontal from the point where I have drawn. So this is the first line, and moving 1 upwards. See, this is the second line and this is the third line. So you already saw the gap between these 2 lines is 1 and the gap between these 2 lines is also 1, right? So let me rub the unnecessary portion. Now where I have to draw the same thing, I have to draw it over here. Let me mark the horizontal point, horizontal line, which is the middle line. So this is one line, this is the second line, and you can see the gap between them is moving 1 upwards and from center line moving 1 downwards. So 3 lines, right? Which are those 3 lines? You can see this is the first line, this is the second line, right? And the gap between them is 1, and gap between the second line and third line is also 1. Same way, this is the first line, this is the second line, and gap you can see here between them is 1. Same way, the gap between these two is also 1, and this is my third line. So guys, this is how the, sorry, I just missed out. This is how your structure diagram is drawn. So structure diagram for 2331 is going to look like this. The structure diagram for 2331 is actually this portion that you have drawn. Now let's go to the other structure diagram, right? And that structure diagram is our structure diagram, which is shown over here, which is 2132, right? So let us start. Now let me erase this whole structure diagram, and here let me draw the another structure diagram. Now you can see here, guys, for this same problem again, the Z is going to remain 6. So horizontal lines are going to remain 6 and vertical lines are going to be n plus 1, right? So again, the vertical lines are going to be 3. So let us start by drawing the diagram, right? So these are my vertical lines, right? You can see here, right? I have drawn the vertical lines. This is my first shaft, input shaft. This is the intermediate shaft, and this is the third shaft, output shaft. So total 3 vertical lines, 3 shafts I have drawn. Next, what do I need to do? I need to draw now these 6 horizontal lines, right? So let me start by drawing the horizontal lines. The first one is already there in the bottom. You can see that. So this is my second horizontal line. Remember, the gap between them should always be equal, though I am drawing it roughly. So mine would vary a little bit, but you should draw equal gap. Third line is drawn. This is the fourth line, and this is the fifth line. Now, obviously, just like last time, right? When I have to draw 2, 1, I'm going to draw it in this zone, which is 2, 1. And when I have to draw 3, 2, I'm going to draw it in this zone, which is 3, 2. Again, I need to draw the center line. So leaving one block from above, one block from below. leaving second block from above, second block from below, one block, only this block is remaining. And so I can understand this is going to be my center point. So now I have also taught you how to find the center point of the structure diagram. Let us start. Now here between these two lines, whenever you have to draw two lines, you cannot draw this way, one or inclined and other horizontal. No, both should be inclined always, right? So let us start now. I have to draw two lines and the gap between them should be 1. So if I extend the center point till here, right, you can see here, guys, moving this much is half, moving half above and half below. So I will get my total distance as 1, and between two lines the gap should be 1. So I already understood where my end points are going to lie. It is going to lie here, and I have to draw two lines which are going to touch there. So I'll start from here. This is my first line and this is my second line. So guys, you can see here I have completed this portion which says 2, 1. Means two lines with the gap of 1. I'll rub these unnecessary things. Now I'll rub this line also because it was just a center line. So two lines with the gap of 1. You can see here this gap is the total gap of 1, half above and half below from the center line. Now the other portion says that I have to draw 3 lines with the gap of 2. So first inclined line, second would be the horizontal line. इनके बीच gap होना चाहिए 2. The gap between these two lines should be 2. And the third line is also going to be inclined line. And between the horizontal line and inclined line also the gap is going to be 2. So which are the points from where I should draw? Wherever the previous points have finished, 2, 1 जहाँ पे finish हुआ, where exactly the 2, 1 finished, from there I have to draw 3, 2, right? So you understood where I should start from. So I will start from, guys, whenever the 3 lines are there, it is very well understood that the first line should be the horizontal line. By default, you should draw it, so it will be easy for you to draw. So first line I have drawn horizontal. Second line, directly I can touch it over here because you can see the gap between this line, horizontal line and inclined line is 2. 1 and 1, 2. And I already need that. Gap should be 2. Same way moving 1 and 2 down. So where should my point end? It should end over here, right? So the third line now I'm going to draw and it is going to touch over here. Still the diagram is not finished because what about this point? Diagram should never remain empty. So from there I'm going to start. So first let me draw a horizontal line from here. So I'm drawing a horizontal line. So first line is finished. Now moving 1 upwards and another 1 upward, total gap will become 2, right? So you understood where my point is going to end. It is going to end here. Let me rub it and then draw the lines, right? So you can see here, this is my first point, and from here moving 1 down and another down, the total gap makes 2. So you know that this is the point what I'm talking about. I have to join it, right? So rubbing other unnecessary things, I'm going to join this line over here. This completes the structure diagram. Still it is not complete because every time you have to write down this N1, this is N2, this is N3, this is N4, this is N5, and this is N6. So guys, I already taught you how you can draw structure diagrams for these two structural formulas. You already understood how to draw it. Now, we finished just the first portion. That was the first portion of numerical, to draw the structure diagram. But the numerical also says you have to draw the speed diagram as well, right? So now I'm going to start with the speed diagram. But for speed diagram, the difference between structure diagram and speed diagram is that the you need the values of this N1, N2, N3, N4, N5 and N6. And in numerical, always the motor speed will be given to you, right? So motor speed, let us say, suppose in numerical it is given to you as 1440 RPM. They have given to you that maximum speed is 1000 RPM. Everything would be given to you, right? And they would have given that minimum speed is, let us say, it is 160 RPM. Only if maximum speed, minimum speed and motor speeds are given, only then you would be able to draw your speed diagram. Otherwise, it's not possible to draw your speed diagram. So let us start. Now I'm erasing the structure diagram, but we will come back to that while we do the comparison, right? Now, what calculation you need to do first? The first calculation when you start is you have to calculate the range ratio, right? So what is the range ratio? Range ratio, capital R, is maximum speed upon your minimum speed. All of us know here in numerical it is given maximum speed as 1000 and minimum speed as 100, right? So maximum speed is 1000 and minimum speed is 160, not 100. Sorry, it is 160. So when I'll do the calculation, I'll get range ratio as 6.25. Range ratio is coming as 6.25. Once I get the range ratio, which I'm going to write down here so that I don't forget, range ratio capital R is 6.25. Once range ratio is calculated, you have to find geometric progression ratio. You should be drawing geometric progression ratio. So I'll start with that. How to find out geometric progression ratio, right? The formula is phi is equal to Rn. That is your range ratio, which you found out right now, 6.25. Rn raised to 1 upon Z minus 1. And what is your Z? Number of speed steps. 6-speed gearbox is there. So your Z is 6, right? So I just have to put down the value of range ratio, right? Which is 6.25 raised to 1 upon, what is my Z? 6. 6 minus 1. When I'll do the proper calculation, geometric progression ratio I will find out as 1.4427. So I'm going to write down here geometric progression ratio. I found out it as, what did I find out? I found out it as 1.4427. These things are necessary for calculating the speed diagram. Now we are also going to find the 6 speeds, because without finding the actual value of speeds, we cannot draw the speed diagram. Structure diagram can be drawn without knowing the speeds, because we just write down it as N1, N2, N3, N4, N5, N6. But for speed diagram, it is required that you find out the magnitude of those speeds, right? So how to find out now? You have to find out N1, N2, N3, N4, N5, N6. Out of that, N1 is N minimum, which is already given to you in the numerical, which is 160 RPM, right? So this is already known. So I'm going to write down here 160 RPM. Even maximum speed is given, which is your N6. And it is how much? It is your 1000 RPM. So two values, you already have it with you. Just the 4 values you have to find out. How to find out? By the preferred series. The way we used to find out the preferred series, right? How to find out this? This will be N1 into phi, geometric progression ratio, which you found out here. This is going to be N1 into phi square. This is going to be N1 into phi raised to 3. This is going to be N1 into phi raised to 4. So N1 is 160 and how much is phi? 1.4427. When I do the calculation properly in the calculator, I am going to get the value of N2 as 230.832 RPM. Same way, my N1 is 160 and your phi square is 1.4427 square. So when you will do the proper calculation, you are going to get the value as 333.0213 RPM. Same way, by calculation, this will be 480.4498, and this by calculation is going to be 693, right? This is going to be 693.145 RPM. So before drawing the speed diagram, the magnitude of all 6 speeds you have to calculate. This is the basic difference between the structure diagram and the speed diagram. There is one more difference, which when we are going to draw the speed diagram exactly for this 2331, for which we had already drawn the structure diagram, you will understand the difference. You will also understand when I'm going to draw the speed diagram for this 21 and 32. So guys, once I find out all the 6 speed, now I can draw my speed diagram. So let us start, right? What am I going to do? I'm just going to first draw the structure diagram and then convert it into the speed diagram the way I had done before, right? So let us do it. Initially, horizontal lines are going to be equal to Z, which is 6, and vertical lines are going to be, for now let us keep n plus 1, and then one more motor speed vertical line we have to draw it in the front. So actually it is going to be n plus 2, right? But that line I'm going to draw it later. But remember, for structure diagram, vertical lines are n plus 1. But for speed diagram, the vertical lines has to be n plus 2, where that one extra line is one vertical line of the motor speed that you have to draw. right? So let me first draw the structure diagram the way I had drawn, and then I'll show you how is it different from the speed diagram. And I'm going to first take the structure diagram of 2 3 3 1, right? So first let me take n plus 1 vertical lines, which is 2 plus 1, which is 3, right? So let us start. Let me take first the 3 lines, right? And these are the 2 lines, and then in between this is my third line. Right now, just like structure diagram, I'm going to draw my 6 horizontal lines. One is already there from bottom. This is my second line. This is my third line. This is my fourth line. This is my fifth line. This is my sixth line. 6 lines I have to draw. So I'll just do one thing. The extra portion which is there, for now I'm going to erase it. Now in structure diagram, you should not write down here as n1, n2, n3. You have means you have to write down that, but with that you have to also write down the values. Like n1 was 160 rpm, n2 value, whichever you have found out, that value you should be writing down over here, which is 230.82 rpm. Third value is 333.021 rpm. Fourth value is 480.4498. I'm not writing down full values. You know it is understood. Next, third value is 693.145. And my fourth value is, sorry, sixth value is 1000 RPM, right? The sixth value is going to be 1000 RPM. Sorry, it's here. This is my sixth value, which is 1000 RPM. Now see guys, motor RPM is 1440. तो मुझे उसकी भी एक एक्स्ट्रा लाइन ड्रॉ करनी है, राइट? एंड दैट एक्स्ट्रा लाइन इज नथिंग बट दिस one more line which is going to be here 1440 rpm, which is this line. So total Z plus 1 horizontal line should be drawn in a speed diagram. In structure diagram, it is Z, right? But it could be Z plus 1 or it could be equal to Z also. Because here it is 1440 RPM, it might be possible that suppose in numerical, your motor speed was given, say 330 RPM. If it is 330, then your motor line would be over here. Then you don't need to draw this extra line. These would be your 6 speeds, and in between here you could have drawn your motor speed. But unfortunately, your motor speed is given more than your sixth speed. 1000 se badi hai 1440. So I'm drawing one extra line. So the horizontal lines in your speed diagram could be Z plus 1 or it could be equal to Z. Depends whether your motor speed value is higher than your maximum speed or it is lower than your any of the speeds of the speed diagram. Now, what I'm going to do, I am going to first draw the way I had drawn the speed diagram, right? So for the time being, I am just going to do one thing. I am just going to rub this portion which was not there, right? For now, let us not take this portion. Just let it be just like the way it was for your say speed diagram, right? So how I used to draw the speed diagram, you all know, for speed diagram first I need to take the center point, so leaving one from bottom, one from top, again one from bottom, one from top. This is only the one block which is remaining, so इनका center point मैंने ले लिया. Draw क्या करना है? What exactly I need to draw? I have to draw two lines with the gap of 3, right? So let me extend the center line till this portion. And now you already know this is the half portion from center line. Upar gaye to this is half. This is one more half till here and one more half till here. So total this is 1.5. Same way moving half down, half till here and again half till here. So this is also 1.5. 1.5 plus 1.5 is going to make 3. So which are my end points? My end points are this and this one, where I have to draw two lines. So let me rub the unnecessary portion which was there. And then I am going to draw the actual lines and finish my diagram. This is one line, sorry. Yes, this is first line. This is the second line. This was the center line, so I'm going to rub it. Right? So when you count it, you can see here, this total gap between the two lines is 3. 1, 2, and 3. Two lines with the gap of 3. Next, what I have to do, guys, I have to draw, you all know, the remaining portion, which is shown over here, 3, 1. So I'm going to now draw here 3, 1 after 2, 3. For drawing 3 lines, I have told you while we were drawing structure diagram, one line should be horizontal and 2 should be inclined. And this 1 means the gap between the 2 lines should be 1. Right? So let us start by first drawing the horizontal line over here. This is my first line. ऊपर एक जाएंगे, right? Moving 1 upwards. So this is my second line and this is my third line. You can see the gap between these two is 1 and these two lines is also 1. So 3 lines with the gap of 1. You cannot keep your diagram incomplete. You have to complete at this point also. So from here, I am going to draw one horizontal line. Right? And from there, moving 1 upwards and 1 downwards. So 3 line with the gap of 1. Diagram is complete, but this is the structure diagram. I want the speed diagram, right? So, you know, the top speed is my 1440 RPM, which is my motor speed. So one more line I have to draw, which is the motor speed line. I should join it to complete the diagram. I'm going to join the corners. Please draw it straight. I'm just drawing it a little bit. Inclined lines are happening because I'm drawing roughly, but I hope you understand. You have to draw the straight lines. I'm just extending the lines where they were, right? In the end, what you have to do to complete your diagram, you just have to draw your, see, here is your motor speed. So this is your motor speed point. You just have to join your motor speed line with the center point where you started your structure diagram. So I'm going to do that by erasing this. Doesn't look good. So I'm going to draw this line. So now you understood this is the speed diagram. What is the difference between the structure diagram and speed diagram? Let me show you by a different color annotation. You have to mark the motor speed. It might come here also, it might come here also. What if your motor speed was, let us say, somewhere here? It was 330 rpm. So instead of joining this line like this, right, you could have, sorry, then you have to join this line with the center point. That is the only difference. So your motor speed line should be joined with the input speed. That is the thing which should be done. So this is your first difference between the structure diagram and speed diagram. The second difference is your number of horizontal lines, right? Your number of horizontal lines and the structure diagram will be equal to the number of speed steps, that is Z. But in the speed diagram, it could be either equal to Z or it could be Z plus 1. It could be one more extra. One more difference is the vertical lines, right? What is the difference in vertical lines? You can see in vertical lines, in the structure diagrams, we take n plus 1 vertical lines. But in speed diagram, this one more motor speed RPM is there. यहाँ पे ऊपर लिखना पड़ता है n motor, which you are going to show it to this line. So in the speed diagram, it is going to be n plus 2. One intermediate and one motor speed line you have to draw. Right? So this was the difference between the structure diagram and speed diagram. Let me quickly again draw one more speed diagram which is remaining, and then we are going to go to the portion which is called as your difference between the structure diagram and the speed diagram, right? So if you did not understand the speed diagram for the previous one, which is this one, now you can understand it for 2132, right? So let me first draw the 6 lines, horizontal lines that I have to draw. So one is there in the bottom. So this is my second one. This is my third one, fourth one, fifth one, and sixth one. This is the intermediate shaft. Sorry. This is the intermediate shaft, right? See, you have to write down here carefully all the speeds. 160 RPM, 230.832 RPM. Whatever you have done the calculation properly, everything you should be writing down 0 to RPM. This is your 480.4 RPM. This is your 693.1 RPM. This is your 1000 RPM. Now, what I'm going to do, I am going to draw the motor speed also, right? So, let me draw it properly. I'm just extending the lines. Right? So this is the motor speed, which is 1440 RPM. I also have to draw the motor shaft. So this is my motor shaft. I'm extending till here, right? And I'm going to extend it with all the speeds. I'm going to extend it till here. Mine is a bit not proper because I'm drawing with the annotations, but you should be drawing properly with the scale. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Now we are going to start with drawing the diagram, right? I should first take the center point, leaving bottom से एक, top से एक, नीचे से एक छोड़ दिया, ऊपर से एक छोड़ दिया, right? But I took it wrong. मोटर स्पीड को मैंने कंसिडर कर लिया है, वहां से नहीं करना है, यहां से करेंगे. 1 1 1 1. This is my center line, right? What I have to draw, I have to draw 2 1. So I'm going to draw here 2 1, which means two lines with the gap of 1 spacing between them, right? So let me draw it from center. Half ऊपर गए and half नीचे गए. So two lines with the gap of 1. Next, what I have to do, I have to draw, what I have to draw, I have to draw 3 lines with the gap of 2. So I have told you one inclined line, sorry, it should be one inclined line, one horizontal line, and other third inclined line. First start with the horizontal line always. It will be easy for you, right? And which are the points from where I should draw? This point and this point. So let us start from the top portion first. Let me draw one horizontal line. ये मैंने draw कर ली. ऊपर कितना जाना है top? How much steps to move above? Spacing to move above? 2. So this is 1, this is 2, this is my point where I should join. So I'm going to join it till here. Same way moving 2 downwards. This is 1, this is 2, and this is the point where I should be joining it, right? So taking this line and joining it over here. Same way, diagram is not complete. I have to do it at this point as well. So I'm going to do it now. Sorry. Right. So first drawing the horizontal line, then moving 2 upwards from that horizontal line and 2 downwards from that horizontal line. See guys, one mistake I did, I'll show you here. You should not randomly leave it anywhere. It should touch exactly the point where it is. Don't make such mistakes. Diagram should be neat and clean in the exam, university exam. Now, what you are going to do, you are going to complete the speed diagram. How is it? It's complete. You just have to draw the center line with your motor shaft, right? Your motor RPM. And this is your motor RPM 1440. So here you have to join it with your input speed. This is how your speed diagram differs from your structure diagram. So guys, I have actually drawn 2 structure diagrams. I have drawn 2 speed diagrams to give you a glimpse of how both the diagrams, speed diagram and structure diagram, are different. Now we are going to do what? We are going to compare the speed diagram and structure diagram, how we draw it, and on basis of drawing only we are going to compare it. So let us do that, right? Let us go to the comparison or the difference between the structure diagram and the speed diagram. So guys, like you can see over here, right? I have shown you, I have drawn the difference. One by one, we will go through every point, right? Let us go to the first point. Our first point, we had we have drawn it. So now we can easily understand. Structure diagrams, you have to draw n plus 1 vertical lines. But one more motor speed line has to be drawn in speed diagram. So instead of n plus 1, here it is going to be n plus 2 vertical lines you have to draw in the speed diagram. What about the horizontal lines? Right? So guys, the horizontal lines will be equal to always the speed steps Z. If your number of speed steps are 6, then your horizontal lines will be exactly 6. But in speed diagram, the horizontal lines are greater than, it would be one more extra or it would be equal, right? Suppose abhi hamara maximum speed was 1000, our maximum speed was 1000 RPM and motor speed was 1440 RPM. So I had to draw one extra line, Z plus one line I had to draw. So it could be greater than the number of speed steps, or suppose if instead of 1440 RPM, if the motor speed is say 700 RPM, then 700 is less than 1000. So it would be somewhere between those 6 lines only. So it would be equal to number of speed steps. So horizontal lines, either it is greater than the number of speed steps or it would be equal to Z. That is what they are trying to say. See, structure diagram, you know, we are not doing any calculation. So actual information of the speed steps aapko nahi pata chalega. First speed was 160 RPM. Then your N2 is say 230.832 RPM. Your N4 is 33. ये सब हमें नहीं पता चलता. You don't get this idea from the structure diagram. But yes, you will get all the information about the spindle speed as well as motor speed from the speed diagram. Next, fourth difference between your structure diagram and speed diagram is that you don't calculate geometric progression ratio phi. But in the speed diagram, you first have to calculate Rn, your range ratio. Then you have to calculate your geometric progression ratio. And then on basis of that, you calculate your N1. N2 is your N1 phi, right? N3 is your N1 phi square. You calculate all the magnitude of the speeds. So in short, geometric progression ratio value is known in the speed diagram. Without that, your speed diagram you cannot draw. So this does not give us the value of geometric progression ratio, structure diagram. But speed diagrams give us the value of geometric progression ratio phi that we had calculated. Same is with the range ratio. Structure diagrams does not give us the value of the range ratio of spindle speeds. But the speed diagram is going to give us the value on basis of Rn only. We will be able to calculate geometric progression ratio phi. So this shows us the difference between the structure diagram and the speed diagram. I hope I was able to explain you through numerical the exact difference between the structure diagram and the speed diagram. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. We'll be again with a new informative video of gearbox shortly. We'll try to explain as many numericals which is asked in your GTU university exams. So kindly stay in touch, and also please like and share the videos if you like my videos. Thank you so much.